Hey everybody, this is Captain Yeet here with you for the Kagurabachi Manga chapter review. This is going to be Kagurabachi Manga chapter 120 titled The Isram Talk Part 4, so let's get into it. This gameplay is not my gameplay. This gameplay is specifically made by the YouTuber Gaming Revan. This is of all the ultimates and awakenings and Bleak for Breath of Souls, so let's get into it. I'm also put the video link in the comics. This video is made by Gaming Revan. And also, I'm so sorry for this video coming out so late. It usually comes out late anyway because on Sundays I have church, but I went out of town yesterday and we just got back, so this video is coming out a lot later than usual. Anyway, the chapter starts off with Masahiro. Obviously, he got teleported away, not away from the island, but he got teleported off to the side of the island because he has that huge hole in the stomach now. And then Aru. Aru is the prince of the Mikaboshi. I forgot to say his name last chapter, but his name is Aru. He's activating his ability that allows him to get out of the sort of gravitational pressure that Hitaro is putting him under. Now, after he does this, Sheba is freaking out. He goes, "What in the world is this doing? I never felt something like this before." And when this happens, Aru looks directly at Hitaro. Then the narrator starts to go into basically how crazy his body is because, as we know, Hitaro, he has the exact same sorcery as the leader of the Soga clan from 1,000 years ago, the same sorcery that allowed him to destroy the island. Well, no, actually, it allowed him to beat the Mikaboshi in general when they were taking over Japan. Then when they fled to the island off the coast, he used the same sorcery to destroy their island, and that what made them like live underwater for the past 1,000 years. He has the exact same sorcery as him. So anyway, the narrator starts to go into basically how his body is. He's the only one with this sorcery because his body is like hiding off a human ability. He has increased reflexes, strength, and speed. Like he's hyping up his body and how good he is. But even with all of that, it is nothing to Aru because Aru instantly just. I don't think he teleports. I think he's just that fast, but he just instantly runs over to Hitaro without him even noticing, grabs his face and slams him into the ground. And while he's doing this, he's also punching his stomach multiple times. Like literally, I can't edit, but in the panel, he's grabbing his face, and you also see multiple punches on his chest. So he's doing all of this in like one action. That's how fast he is, which is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Anyway, after he does this, he slams him on the ground and makes a gigantic crater. Siba sees this, teleports over to Aru, grabs his shoulder, and tries to teleport him away. But for some reason, he can't use sorcery on him. We hear like this buzzing sound. He goes, "What? Sorcery doesn't work on him?" So then he just teleports over to Hataro, or Hitaro, grabs him and teleports away. But while he's teleporting away, Aru was able to instantly jump up, grab Siba, punch him multiple times, do the exact same thing to Hitaro again, and then sends them both flying across the island. Siba goes this way, and Hataro goes that way. So that is kind of crazy. Sorcery doesn't work on him for some. So I don't know if it's like sorcery in general doesn't work on him, which it kind of does work on him because as we saw, the sorcery that Hitaro was using last week was pushing him down in one place. Now, obviously, after he activates his ability, maybe after that sorcery can't work on him. But does it mean just any type of sorcery? So let's say there's sorcery like a fire sorcery, right? And you throw a fireball at him. Does it just get dispersed as soon as it touches him? I don't know. Now, there's kind of an explanation of what's going on in these panels later on in the chapter, but it doesn't really explain how the sorcery doesn't touch them, or maybe it makes the sorcery weaker. But I guess we'll get into that when we get into that. But that is wild. The fact that he was able to do all this and catch Siba off guard and grab him and slam him, like, my goodness gracious. I know this had to hurt, especially sending him flying across the island. He sends Hattori, I'm saying his name different every time I say it, but the guy with the tattoo on his neck, he sends him flying so far that he lands right next to Masahiro, and Shiba gets thrown through like multiple trees, and he's like huffing and puffing. So the dude with the really big beard and the mustache, he's thinking to himself after watching all this happens, he goes, huh, the tremendous energy of the Seki applied to sorcery? Well, this is exciting. So I guess I mean, we knew he was using his own type of sorcery, but he's also amplifying it with the Seki, which I don't think if we knew that, but I guess we do know it now. But he thinks to himself, still, the catch Masahiro off guard with a surprise attack and totally overwhelming Haituro. Yeah, that's how you say it. Haituro and Siba with pure strength and speed is impossible. There has to be some sort of trick. And while he's saying this, Aru is flying over to him and goes for a punch. And when he goes for the punch, he's able to bring out his blade, the guy with the beard and mustache, and swing it out. Now, Aru was able to block it with like his little guard thing that he's wearing on his shoulder. Well, not his shoulder, on his arm. he's able to block it, and he goes, "Ha, there you are," and he's bleeding from the mouth. And then the narrator, well, not the narrator, sorry, he specifically starts to explain this space, this air, it's toxic, isn't it? Somehow, he numbed our senses without us even noticing. That's why we couldn't predict or respond to his movements. And the Arrow was like, "What? This is unbelievable." On some sort of hypothesis, he bit through his tongue. And then, yeah, it states that the narrator now, he states that, well, since he bit through his tongue, his senses were able to come back to him. That's why he was able to catch Aru and, like, throw his sword at the right moment before he cut him. But that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. He was able to bit through his tongue, and that just shows his resolve because obviously, like Aru was saying, that's not, nobody confirmed that before he did that. So he was just going off of a theory he had, but he, even off a theory, he was able to willingly bite it through his tongue. He just bite through his tongue to bring his senses back. And I guess whenever he activates that ability, he just did to make himself a lot stronger. I guess somewhat like a weird version of the Dasiki to make his body amplified and makes the air toxic. And this is what I was saying. So when he said he makes the air toxic, that's why it nullified the senses. That's why he was catching them off guard. I mean, he still is that strong and fast, but he was able to catch them off guard because of that. I was like, huh. So I guess it's not like super, super toxic to where they start coughing up blood, because obviously that'll be really noticeable. It's like slightly toxic to where they can't notice it and they didn't even realize it until he said it. But is that the reason why Siba's sorcery couldn't work on him? Which doesn't really make any sense because, okay, yes, the toxicity or the poison nullified his thing, nullified his sorcery, but that still doesn't explain why he couldn't teleport him. I mean, obviously, I guess sorcery just doesn't work on him. We don't see the full extent of what kind of sorcery works on him. At least physical sorcery can't work on this guy when he's in his activated state. At least that. We haven't seen anybody use sorcery like a fireball or anything like that, but at least physical type of sorcery can't really work on this guy. I remember a lot of people kept saying too, I wonder what Sheba's real sorcery is. I mean, I saw that a few times. I was like, I thought his sorcery was just teleportation. Well, obviously, every time he got into a fight, it's always like somewhat off screen. We never really got to see him really fight for a long period of time like Shahito or anybody else. So I guess some people thought he had like a second type of sorcery, and maybe his sorcery worked in a different way besides from just teleportation. In other words, in a flashback, we can actually see it. Right now, no, it's just regular teleportation, which isn't bad, which isn't bad, but it's regular teleportation. Anyway, the guy with the mustache and the beard, he goes, "Okay then, show us all what you got. This is the climax." We go back over to Masahiro and Hataro. He's telling him basically everything that just happened, that regular sorcery can't work on him. He's really fast and he's really strong. He's going to be a problem. And when he says this, Masahiro says, "Okay then, so I guess since our sorcery can't work on him, we're gonna have to kill him physically with like a physical attack from our swords or something." And then he goes, "It's been an honor." Oh, wait, sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. Then he activates his sorcery to make those pressure points, and he made these gigantic pressure points all over this gigantic iron boat off to the side of the coast. And he's like doing it all over the boat to scrunch it into a giant iron ball. Now, when he's doing this, Hataro's like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "It's been an honor working with all of you. There's one last thing we should do. Let's slug him with a real big iron chunk." He's like, "Oh, okay, then let's do this." Well, I said he was all in, and with him saying something like this, has been an honor to work with you guys, and he's still bleeding out. He still has the huge hole from last chapter, so it kind of seemed like he might die. What kind of sucks because I mean we don't know, we never heard of this guy in the main story, and we only seen him in the flashback, so it kind of assumingly he will die. But it's kind of sad. I do really like him and everybody else here. But anyway, we continue on with like the mustache and beard guy, and he's still fighting against Aru. Aru was able to speed blitz him, cut off one of his hands, and then just stab, well, not stab, but like rip a hole right through his chest. As soon as he do that, he doesn't even skip a beat. He grabs his hand that's going through him, and he goes, "Hey, Hataro, don't mind me." You see the gigantic iron bolt ball up in the sky. With Hataro, he goes, "Yeah." He hits the hilt of his sword like he did last chapter. It's starting to fly down to him. Aru is trying to run away, but the hand that's stuck inside of the beard guy, he can't get it out because the beard guy's holding it. He's like, "Oh, nah, you're not going anywhere," keeping him right in place for the ball to hit him. Not even skipping a beat. That's determination. That's my boy. I like everybody here. I don't want no one to die. I don't want anyone to die. But we never heard of these guys. We never heard of these guys in the main story. So unless they get so hurt in this battle, they can't fight anymore, even in the main story. They probably die here, which really sucks. But anyway, Arnold's trying to run away. He can't because the hand that's stuck inside of him. He's like holding it back, which he's like, "Oh no, you're not going anywhere." So Arnold goes, "What are you doing? Are you planning to go out with me?" He goes, "Don't be an idiot." Siba teleports over to him. He goes, "He's one of our comrades." Grabs him and teleports out the way. So then the iron chunk is about to fall on Aru, and the very last panel it shows Aru activating the centipede ability, and then we see the giant iron chunk land on the island with a huge explosion in the chapter. So the centipede move, I'm assuming it works the same way as regular centipede, that gigantic slicing attack that happens all around him. Now, obviously, that's an enchanted blade. This is him using the raw sorcery of it, and the centipede is always black. This centipede is white, so it could work in somewhat of a different way. Maybe it's still a slicing attack, but it could work maybe in a somewhat different way. But I mean, I guess we'll see in 2 weeks. There is a break next week. I think next week is Golden Week for Japan, so it's going to be a break on all mangas, One Piece, Kurabachi, everything. A lot of people are saying that tomorrow on Monday this will be an announcement for something Kurabachi. A lot of people are saying an anime announcement, which would be dope. I would love an anime announcement. You know that would be crazy. I'll definitely do anime reviews or episode reviews for the anime. They do announce it. Well, I mean, I can't really show if they do show like a clip of something they've been working on. I can't really show it. Well, I guess I could. So I don't know. I might make a video on it. I might not. It depends if I have time tomorrow. I am doing some stuff tomorrow. But I really hope there's an anime announcement. 'Cause that'd be really dope. I doubt there'll be a game announcement. It's not be an anime, and we need like voice actors and how it looks. So we're not getting a game for a while. And the only reason why I'm so on Bleach right now is because everybody. Well, not everybody, but a good chunk of people use swords in Kagurabachi, a good chunk of people use swords in Bleach. Obviously, there's a lot of exceptions in both animes for some people just use raw sorcery. Well, there's not. Well, I'm not really caught up with Bleach. I'm trying to get into it. I'm on episode 6. I know a lot about the show, like just in general, but I'm on episode 6. But I know like a lot of people use swords with a couple of exceptions. Obviously, like Chad, I know he uses just his fist. He's the same thing in here. Like a lot of people use his swords in here, but he also have like regular sorcery and stuff. So that's why I'm so on Bleach. But yeah, this was good. This was a really good chapter. I just really, hopefully, we get more explanation to why regular sorcery doesn't work on him when he's active. Because sorcery does work on him. It works on Aro because we saw him getting pushed down by the gravitational stuff that Hitaro did last chapter. But when he activated, I forgot what the ability was called. But when he activated his ability, then the sorcery couldn't work on him. So maybe because then after that, it's really only like physical type of sorcery, like pushing you down, Siba having to grab you to teleport you. Maybe there's an upgrade he can get later on in the series, the way he can teleport people without touching them. That'd be kind of cool. But for right now, only physical sorcery can't work on him. Maybe extra-dimensional or whatever. I don't know if that's the word you use, but maybe sorcery like making fire or lightning. Maybe that kind of sorcery can work on him. But we haven't seen that. We haven't really seen that just yet. And Masahiro going, I mean, I don't know if he's going to die here, but if he does, I mean, he's going out with a bang. Determination to crush this gigantic iron ship into a giant ball for Hitro to use to like slam onto him. I mean, that's amazing teamwork. That's amazing teamwork. That's really good, man. Oh man, I love these guys so much. I really hope they're okay. And if it does get too hectic, I mean, I guess Siba could teleport them away, but this guy is so fast and his senses are dulled because of the poison that he's emitting. I don't know if he could get away unless they call him reinforcements. But these are like the top guys, though, so I don't know. These are the top guys. Oh, I guess we'll find out more, 2 weeks since there's a break next week. But okay, like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you all later. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being one human beings. And I'll see you all next time. Bye bye. All right. Yeah. Hey, that could be that could be him, I guess.